And in the 8 blocks, well, let's just do them quickly, shall we? So the sequence is like this. It's this wing arm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that wing arm again, and 8 I push down. So these are all attacks coming in at my body, right? And I'm trying to knock them away, knock them aside from my center. So here's what's interesting. Lohan is a fighting system. It's just never shown that way. Sifu always taught this to me kind of like after class and stuff, because most of the people that were there for health reasons, right? And I was the martial arts guy. But it's not an obvious system of how it actually does anything. So let's take a look by tearing it down against some of our fundamentals. So the very first movement in the form, Lohan moves the hands and adjusts the chi, okay? So we've done our bow, and I'm here. Lohan moves hands and adjusts the chi is this. Which we repeat 3 times. Now you can already see just against that block set that the very first move when I sit back and roll my hands together is this wing shape. So I'm actually practicing this at the same time on both sides. My hands come upwards and they roll all the way through until I reach out with my fingertips. That's this shape. If I was doing Southern Shaolin right now, Wing Chun would call this Tan Sao. Okay? So you can see that this first move, by doing it with a single hand, you already have 2 of those blocks. In fact, the first 2 in the set. Kind of an interesting point of view. So now, from being a Qigong movement, just even this piece of it so far, this suddenly becomes all I need to do is take a stance with one leg and one arm forward. If I do this movement from here with one hand forward and one hand back, my lead arm and my rear arm are suddenly doing different things. Even if I did it at the same time, you can see I could be trapping something in between either one of these. They're going to cross one another. So it gives you a different way of thinking about things. Most of the stuff in the Lohan form, what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to take anything that's symmetrical apart, look at it individually, right-handed and left-handed, and then put it back together. So in this very first move, I'm standing and I do this, right? I come up, I roll over, I come back here, I roll over, I stand. So I've got the wing arm block, I've got this outward block, right? Boom, boom. Now, when I come back to my hip, this is actually a pull. So the idea here is that I've had a punch or something come at me and I've blocked it, guy's on the outside of my arm, and I'm hooking and pulling him back towards my body. So if it's a punch coming at me, ideally I'll ride the punch, pull it right back down to my belly. So here I am, blocking something, and then pulling this back, hooking back to my waist. Again, if this is one hand, and I'm hooking him back to the waist, then my other hand's doing whatever it wants, which becomes combat. The last part of this move, we come back and we roll our hands over the top, right? We just roll by making the radius and the ulnar rotate, and then we press in and downwards into the ground with the palms of our hands and push ourselves up. Okay, so this is the last of those 8 blocks. Remember, at the beginning, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here it is. I push straight down. So any force that comes at me pushes downwards into the ground. I'm not accepting this. I'm going straight down, directly. As it tries to move at me, straight down towards the ground will deflect. They call it jump sao, I think, in Wing Chun. I don't know Cantonese very well. Anyway, so here we are, hooking and then pressing the ground. So this could very easily be interpreted, if I had one foot forward, as I bring my hand up and I block. This punch gets hooked and I pull it back towards my body. And whatever's coming behind it, like a head, because heads follow arms, ends up getting pushed down into the ground. So just this simple movement starts to become quite an excellent little throw, which somebody who's done martial arts, well, everybody and their dog knows this one, basically. Somebody grabs your wrist, you roll over the top, pull them to your waist. Now he's about to go into an armbar, right? In this case, because Lohan doesn't like to hurt anyone, what it actually is trying to do is it's trying to roll them to here and just throw them on the ground, because it doesn't even want to hit people. It's the most kind of Buddhist of the Buddhist martial arts I know in that way. It will always choose to do less damage rather than more. So what we're going to work on now is we're going to start working on some of these drills that are really simple and straightforward and beginner level. And then we're going to take them and we're going to cross-reference them against everything so that you have an idea of what's going on. Forms are textbook repositories of information. Everybody says that, but nobody like tears them apart and shows you like what do they mean by that. And Lohan is very rare. My teacher didn't teach a whole lot of us, so I'd like to make sure that it's out there. So let's start with Lohan moves the hands and adjusts the chi as a self-defense movement. All right.